Now, the books both of them wrote, as I was saying, they drew the complete opposite conclusion. Dr. Kelly essentially said, there is nothing uniquely wrong about these people. These are just human traits. Given the circumstances, if your mind is poisoned, if you think this way, you could end up here. And they are not unique. This could happen to men anywhere in the world. And that was the most shocking conclusion. That's not what people wanted to hear. Dr. Gilbert concluded that all of these 22 men were narcissistic psychopaths, and their minds got deranged and deformed because of the deceased German culture after World War I. Now that people wanted to hear, because then they could tell themselves that, oh, okay, this happened because of this and this and this. This monstrosity happened because all of these, their minds got deranged because of these circumstances. Now we could kill these people and we could not have this happen ever again, so we can save this world. That something like this would never happen again. Now, you wish it were true, because when Dr. Kelly returned back to the US, he gave a lot of talks. Obviously, his book was not popular at all. The other book, in fact, became a bestseller. And he gave a lot of talks around the world. He even made references to the fact that the same traits that he observed in some of these high commanders, in Goering and others, they are not unique, but can be seen in politicians and people in power everywhere. He talked about, in fact, segregationists in the South, who at that time, when Dr. Kelly came back, they were, obviously, Dr. King and all of this was happening right at that time, and the civil rights movement was just starting. Now, the reason I was reminded of this, of course, we're talking about children of light, not of darkness, but because we are all a combination of good and evil, there's always this battle happening inside of us. The Savior here is not the moral compass. Unfortunately, most unfortunately, the manufacturer did not put it in there. Throughout history, you see what humans have been capable of, where they can go and what they can do. And as somebody said, I don't remember where this quote is from, if you want to know what humans are capable of, look at what humans have done. And so we all have seen that. But the good news, there is a good news here. There is a lot of hope here, because the manufacturer put something that is even more special and sacred, which is that impulse that we were talking about, that impulse to seek happiness, to seek bliss. One might wonder, how is that going to save us? How is that going to protect us? Because that is the foundation of goodness. Because when you stray, you realize, if you stray enough, and when you keep straying, that this does not make me happy. This does not take me where I want to go. This reading, that beautiful quote from the Bible, if you did not descend from heaven, you cannot ascend to heaven. Nobody has ascended to heaven if you didn't come from there. If you weren't made of goodness and bliss, you wouldn't have that impulse in you to constantly seek that, to constantly know that we are meant to expand our consciousness, that in fact, that light, that love that we can experience is the true nature of our own soul. But we get confused. We get confused, just as Swamiji was describing in that dream, that all those people, they were all seeking it in every way possible, most of them wrong. By transferring your pain over to others, by having more power, by having more money, by controlling your life bit by bit, we think we are going to get what we want. And that is the real battle. That is the real battle happening everywhere around the world. And if we think even for a moment that we are farther away from it, we are so wrong. Because this battle is happening on a whole other level. Dr. King was proposing love because he wanted to fight the battle on the level where it was happening, the level of light versus dark.